Hello my friends, today we are going to be looking at a year unknown, horsepower unknown Johnson outboard. Now how do I know it's a Johnson and not an Evinrude? Well, it's a military motor. It's the Duraprop there, or Advanced Propulsion Lower Unit. Most of the time those were Johnsons. I have seen one Evinrude, so I wouldn't rule it out, but there's a very, very good chance that this is a Johnson outboard. Does that make a difference? Absolutely not. They are the same as Evinrude's, just different colors. So, Johnson Evinrude doesn't really make a difference. I am joined today with the little baby girl because Mom wanted to go shopping without the baby. So I am on baby duty today. So she's going to watch me. Alright, plan for this video is just to do a compression check, ignition check, look it over, see what things we're going to need, drop the fluid out of the lower unit, see if it's got any water in it. Basically kind of do an inspection of what I'm going to be up against. First thing I want to do is get this pin out of here so I can get the motor on a little better angle. Oh, she's mad. So the shallow water drive is engaged. That out of the way. Now the outboard's a little more level. What's the matter? Alright, let's do a compression / ignition check. Let's get these plugs out of here. Assuming I get the plug in there. There we go. They're old and dirty, but they're not really rusty. So, new plugs, but... Alright, now it's time for the compression check. Alright, it seemed pretty difficult to pull, but it's just shy of 120. You probably didn't saw the flywheel spinning very well there, if you saw it at all. It's hard to pull on this angle, and that it just doesn't really work that well either. But shy of 120, I got no problems with that, it's fine. Let's see what the bottom does. Okay, gauge is connected. I'm going to stand back here so you can see how difficult this is. This is probably one of the only downfalls of this bench, is getting to a pull starter like this. Most of the time what I do is I take the pull starter off and just use a rope to give it a spin. Don't feel like going through that much right now, so I'm just going to kind of sideways it, which makes it pretty hard to pull start. Alright, so pull starter needs to be gone through for it to work properly again. This cylinder is me just shy of 122. Now granted, I could keep going and probably get it a little higher than that, but I really don't feel like it. So we're going to call the compression even and past 100. Pretty good for a little 20 here. So no problems internally with the power head, at least not yet. Alright, broke the screws loose on the lower here. I'm going to pop out the vent, pop out the drain, and we'll see what our oil condition is like, if any. It's thick. Probably hasn't been changed in a long time, if ever. And oil floats on top of water. It would have came shooting out first, so probably no water intrusion inside of there, which is good because it means our gears aren't rusty, which is good, which means our bearings aren't rusty. Bearings are the issue. Seals, pretty easy compared to bearings. So we're probably going to be replacing the seals in this thing, definitely the water pump, and we will take it from there. So while that drains, let's look around up top. Alright, if you notice a lack of a shift handle on this side, that's a good indication that this was once a tiller handle controlled engine, thus no shift handle. I need a remote controlled engine, not a tiller, especially since I don't have the tiller. So we need to make all of those conversion parts as the repair of this thing goes on. The other part of that, this has a extension inside of it, which is pretty rare. Most of the time when you find a long shaft 20, 25, 30 horsepower motor, it's a factory, and this has a long exhaust housing. We're lucky here and we can just remove the extension housing and bring the lower up. So no, that's good and bad. Good because it's easy, bad because it requires a lot of parts that I have, but most of the time most people wouldn't. They'd have to hunt them down on eBay or new or whatever. We got some oil leakage here and here, which probably isn't really a leakage, it's kind of, I'd say, seepage. No real concern there, we'll just clean that up. This is where the starter cylinder, or primer solenoid would mount. Somebody has rigged in some aluminum blocks here, combined with what's left of a shifter cable in their attempts to make it a remote controlled engine. All of that's going to have to go. With that, we also on the other side have the manual primer valve here. That's going to have to go. This is a dewatering valve, so you would pull this if it wasn't seized, or push, or whatever way it's supposed to move, which would then allow all of the crankcase to drain any water that was inside of it when they sank it out. I'm not going to be sinking this motor, so I don't need that valve. The other thing is this is also where the harness would come through for a remote controlled engine, so that can't stay. Since it's a manual primer, you would primer this. It pumps gas into pump gas from the carb bowl through the primer here and back up through the top. So this entire system has to be changed, and we need to change out the fitting on the carburetor here. Now this was a Mars motor, so it's a little different from most. Mainly this power pack. It has these two connectors coming off of it for a remote kill switch, which runs through this cable here, which runs out now through the hole where the tiller handle cable would go. I'm guessing that somebody added that through there. I don't think that would be factory where that is. So, but then again, this braided sleeving isn't something most people to rig up either, so it very well could be factory. I don't know. Here is the shift remote start somebody rigged up. We are missing a screw right here to hold that nice and tight. Not the end of the world there. We'll replace that when the time comes. One of the reasons why I also didn't do the ignition check is I don't know where my tester went, and that power pack is pretty fried. It needs to be replaced anyway. At least the wiring is pretty corroded. And we have this pull start, which means we probably don't have a stator in the flywheel, so I will need to convert this over to electric shift. I'm probably not going to keep the pull start because I don't know, I like it because if your battery dies, you just pull start the engine and you go about your merry way. I don't like it because the only cover I have for a pull start is the one that came off this motor, which is in really ugly shape. And the flywheels have got to get changed for something that has a ring gear anyway, so I don't know. I want to put a nicer hood on here, so I'm probably just going to remove it along with all of the components on the other side and just make it a electric start motor. So we have a lot of work ahead of us. This won't be a one video kind of thing. What I think I'm going to do is split it up into a few videos, because if you think about it, most of the people that watch my channel are just here to fix their motor, not to sit here and watch somebody else just randomly fix other motors. There are a few of those, a lot of those actually, but the vast majority of people just want to see how to change a water pump out, or whatever. So I'm going to split it up into a few videos. One video I'm going to have where the lower unit gets resealed. Another video is going to be the water pump getting changed out. Now at that time, I'm also going to be going through obviously the lower unit parts here. I'm going to be removing the exhaust housing and the drive shaft. So there won't be a video of removing the extension housing here, but I'll do it as I go. We will have a video on the carburetor and / fuel system, probably do both of those at the same time. And then a video on the electric start conversion. And I think that would pretty much be it. The electric start conversion is going to have all of the shift handles, the flywheel, the ignition, adding a motor cable, the primer. So there's going to be a lot to that video. Now you may be asking yourself, but Brando, how are you possibly going to know what parts to buy for this thing if you don't even know what your horsepower it is? Well, my friends, I have a pretty good idea. I have a model number reference guide here, which is also available in PDF form all over the internet. On here we have military outboards, page 39. Let's go to page 39. And there it basically gives our military outboard model numbers. Now here is my model tag. We basically have a bunch of manufacturer number, control number, lot number, whatever these are. Our main one that we want to look at is that one up top. In this case it'd be part number. Most of the time you'd see model number. As you can see, it's very, very, very faded. So with our light on here, that doesn't really help at all, does it? So that's what I'm dealing with. So what I can make out there, the best anyway, is M3 and then either a 5 or a 6 and a clear as day D. So on our book here, the flash is still on, excuse me. The closest thing we have to that, or the only thing we have to that, is the AML30D, which was made between 1995 and 1996. Now, the L is the long shaft. This having an extension wasn't really originally a long shaft, but a short, and then somebody added on long shaft. Factory could have done that, or it could have been, somebody in the military did that. Chances are this is my guess here, factory didn't have a long shaft setup, so they added in the extension kit, but that eliminated the L out of our model number. So there's a very good chance that we have an AM35D with a long shaft conversion kit done to it. There are a few things with that. The 1995-1996 is kind of particularly important because in 1995 they used a red plug harness for the electric start, but in 1996 they used a more modern two-plug setup. Completely different harness I would need to install depending on if I want to make it a 95 or a 96. Other than that, most of the parts are all interchangeable, so all the parts I'm going to be ordering are going to be for a 1995 or 1996. The other thing is it's a 35 horsepower. There are no 35 horsepower Johnsons in 1995 or 1996. What they actually are is a 40 or 50 horsepower with a jet unit on them, which derates them down to 35. So realistically, this would be a 1995 or a 1996 30 horsepower. And all of our service parts, as far as power head, water pump, gear case, ignition, all that stuff are interchangeable between 95 and 96. They're all the same, so we need to just simply order parts for a 95 or 96, doesn't matter, same thing, 30 horsepower, and everything will fit fine. Alright, so join me next video and we will get started with the lower unit. We will start down there and kind of work our way up. That's the plan.